Hi, welcome to my video podcast. I'm your host, Brenda Crouch. I was recently in Israel and I shared a few words from the village of Capernaum. It was a fishing village in the days of Jesus, near the Sea of Galilee. And as I was there, I was in the ancient ruins of an old synagogue where Jesus would have taught and read from the scroll. As I thought about it, I thought, wow, we've come such a long way and where culture is today and the issue of authority. So many people are hurting and rebellious against authority figures because they've been hurt by authority figures. And a lot of people struggle even with God himself. Well, I want to invite you to go with me right now to Israel and let's talk about that issue, authority. Enjoy. We're on the north shore of the Sea of Galilee today in the village of Capernaum, which would have been one of the initial areas that Jesus actually began his ministry just after he came out of the wilderness in his time of testing. This would be the place where Jesus gathered his 12 disciples, and there were many stories in the Bible of the miracles that took place here, things that Jesus did in this area, and some of the teachings even. I'm actually standing in the absolute proven history of the actual synagogue. Beneath me is the actual foundation of the original synagogue from the days of Jesus. And then the structure that you see behind me would have come during the Roman Empire. But it was here that Jesus actually met the centurion, who was the Roman centurion, was the guy who was absolutely in charge and kind of set the law. He had the ability to crucify someone if he saw fit. And he had heard of Jesus, and he had heard of the miraculous healings that came through his ministry and his teachings, and he had a high respect for who Jesus was. And the Roman centurion had a slave that had become very ill, and he was very concerned because he cared about this slave and he wanted to keep him. And so, that was a part of the culture at that time. And so he sent word through others to, he didn't even feel that that was worthy to even approach Jesus. And so he sent others to ask Jesus if he would be willing to come and to heal this slave of the Roman centurions. And when Jesus came, the Roman centurion said to him, I'm not worthy for you to even come into my household, but you just say the word, because I understand I am a man subject to authority. He understood what it meant to give orders to someone beneath him and also someone above him to be given orders. And he understood the principle of authority. And I think this is such a beautiful picture for us today of how we, many times even in our Western culture, I think we've lost the element of respect and awe and wonder for the authority of Christ. We like to think of him as the gentle Jesus, the loving Jesus, and he is all of that. But he is the Jesus who carries the absolute authority of the name of the Christ and the Son of God. He was the Word incarnate, and he came here, and of course, that story continues on as Jesus healed the centurion's servant in his household. But Jesus actually marveled when this man said, I understand the authority, to be subject to authority, and that you carry that authority, and all you have to do is say the word and it will be done. Jesus marveled and said, I have not seen faith as great as this in all of Israel. I want to have that kind of faith that says, Lord, just say the word and I know that it is done. Jesus also taught in this very synagogue. A synagogue was not a place that you would come to worship. That would have taken place in the temple in Jerusalem, where people would travel to do so. This was the place where they would break open the scroll, the Torah, and they would teach from the Torah. They would teach the Word of God, and Jesus did those things. He taught from the Torah, and he began to teach in such a way he had authority. And I believe that it was the authority that he carried and the fact that he came to fulfill the law
not to abolish it, but to fulfill it, that he actually intimidated some of the religious Pharisees and leaders at that time. And he became a threat to them because, we so often in our man-made elements, in our organizations, we carry a certain type of arrogance because we want to carry authority. But the whole aspect of following Christ is to be submitted to his authority. And when you understand his authority and you submit yourself under that authority, it absolutely changes you. We talk a lot about confidence. We talk a lot about identity in this time of our lives and how critical that is to us right now. This understanding, this true understanding of what it means to find your authentic voice, to find your confidence. I believe that it is in the knowing and the understanding of the authority of Christ who now lives in me, who brings his fullness into my brokenness, that I can step into the authority of Christ and have the confidence of knowing that it is him in me and not me myself, because I know that when he says the word, it's as good as done. I am so blessed to be here today, to stand on the very foundation where Jesus taught, knowing that he was the Son of God coming to fulfill the word. He was the Word of God, the breath of his life in the flesh. And he knew what he came to do, and he came to do it with all the authority of heaven. And he is still doing and completing and fulfilling that purpose in you today. And I wonder if you would be willing to allow him the room and the freedom to process his word in you today. As we enter this new decade, I want to encourage you that he is the only one who has the authority to break the seal and to open the scroll, and allow him to give you the understandings of the great mysteries of God, and to bring into reality, to manifest his authority in your life and in your spirit. He will do so, and he will teach you, and he will guide you every step of the way, and he will lead you as you are meant to be led, to do the things, to be the hands and the feet and the arms of Jesus, to be his bride and to carry his authority. I love you. Thank you for joining me today. And we will return to this subject again and talk about it a little bit more, but continue on with me as we're here in Israel. I'm Brenda Crouch.